Every mama wants her child to succeed in life. For many of us, that has included encouraging our kids to attend college. But our guest today wants moms and dads to re-examine this idea. He says that for most young people, college is an expensive waste of money, and that your children can achieve 100% success without college. Stay tuned and hear how. Welcome to the Moms for America podcast. Each week, special guests tackle the issues facing the moms of America today. Discussions include personal stories and advice on how moms can build a strong foundation of faith, family, and freedom in their homes and country. Hi, moms. I'm Debbie Corlitis, your host. So glad that you're joining us again this week. We love it that you take time out of your busy schedule to listen to our podcast. Another great one on the docket today. But first, here in the beginning, I do want to invite you to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. We're getting censored and we are getting shadow banned. So please help us get out the information. And today is going to be a great one for moms to be listening to regarding education. Also, if you are not a part of our tribe yet, we want to invite you to join us here at Moms for America. We are moms uniting all across the country to fight for faith, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Well, Deb, how do I join? Super simple. You go to our website, momsforamerica.us, sign up for our newsletter, and just start taking advantage and getting involved with our programs and our events and all the materials we have available for you. We are here to serve you, Mama, and we have got a plethora of information on our website. So please join us there. Alrighty, on to today's program. Our guest is Bruce Goodmansen. He served as the Dean's Graduate Assistant at Brigham Young University. It was there he developed a passion for parental involvement in children's education. Well, having worked at the university level, you would think that Bruce would be a strong advocate for college education. But no. Actually, the opposite is true. Bruce believes that majority of kids graduating high school today are better off skipping college altogether. He has written the book 100% Success Without College. Well, welcome, Bruce, to the Moms for America podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a great discussion for our moms today.
Thank you, Deb. I'm appreciative to be here.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your family? I know that you and Pam have a wonderful family. How many kids do you have?
We have 5 kids, and we had 3 of them that went to college and came back with a loss of faith in God. So this kind of struck my interest into what's going on in our nation's universities.
Right. Well, before we get it, so you have 5 children total?
5, yes.
All right. And grandkids?
We have 9 now. We just had one born a couple of days ago.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know you kind of tease this for us. You've got some, you're talking from experience on multiple levels on this interview. So I'm going to say that right away to the moms, as we said in the intro. I mean, you've got you worked at a university, your children some went to college, some didn't. And so you're kind of looking at this with a lot of wisdom. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now in the U.S. The U.S. spends more than double the money per child than other comparable countries. How would we rank as far as performance right now, as far as education? Where are we in America right now?
Well, right now, if we look at the worldwide, the United States in the high school arena ranks 26th in the world, 26th.
Wow.
In fact, out of our high school graduates, 71% of them are not proficient in reading, writing, math, social study, and U.S. history. So we have this collection of young men and women who are coming out of the high school arena totally unprepared for college.
Right. And
this is the reason why college is creating, I would call, fluff degrees to keep them involved in the courses.
Some of these degrees I have never, as you talk with people now, kids are graduating with degrees. I'm like, what? I never even heard of such a degree. I've never even knew anything like that existed. So you're calling them fluff degrees.
Well, think of it this way. In our country, we have over 12 12,000 careers to choose from. 12,000. But the typical university offers only 75 majors or 75 careers to choose from. And let's look at Harvard, which only offers 58 degrees, 58 careers to choose from.
Okay.
And this is what I'm talking about, fluff. They have the classics, comparative study of religion, East Asian studies, environmental studies, folklore and mythology, social studies, history of art and architecture. I mean, Deb, what does a young man or a young woman do with a degree in folklore and mythology? What job skills do they bring to the table?
Right.
And what's even more annoying about this is they're having to spend over $200,000 for that degree when they could have simply bought about $200 or $300 worth of books on the subject. But they're bamboozled. Mm-hmm. And what I believe universities are all about is to take care of those young men and women who are into rocket science, who are becoming the engineers and the doctors, even though I'm concerned about being a doctor right now because of all the mandates, shenanigans that's going on in the government to basically take away their licenses if they don't kowtow to their positions.
Right.
But yeah, our kids are going into it and they're just getting these degrees that are of no value.
Right.
As a matter of fact, if you think about it,
why did the U.S. why is this happening? Because we used to be the best and the brightest, right? We used to be the top of education in the U.S. But now you're saying that we've is this part of just dumbing down our society? And I don't want to say that because I'm not making fun of anyone's degree.
No,
but it has shifted. Education has clearly shifted in America.
Absolutely, it has shifted, and it shifted basically to what I feel is to destroy the family values. And this is why you see all these different kinds of cultures that are springing up, what we call the woke culture. And they now have this power because our kids are so backwards that they don't comprehend the difference between fact and propaganda. And so they're coming out basically lost right. in this world. Matter of fact, if you think about it this way, the average 21-year-old male by the age of 21 will have played over 10,000 hours worth of video games. That's 3.4 years of his life.
Wow.
Now talk about dumbing down. And it's far easier to basically, bamboozle. Well, it's like Jefferson said, we cannot live in a country country with a citizenry that is both free and ignorant. They either have to be free, but they can't be free if they are ignorant. And this is what we get is a lot of just that dumbing down. Matter of fact, right now in our nation's universities, there's been a 50% decline in the hours of research and study hours that a typical student now spends, 50 hours in the last decade. Wow. And in the last decade, there's been a 14% decline in enrollments. So kids are starting to see that basically college doesn't really have that much to offer.
Right. Well, there's so many challenges when you look at even putting your child through college because it can't come back to the parents, right? We can't afford this. And then we're either giving the debt to our kids and I'm just kind of in this because I've got a 25 and a 23-year-old and 18-year-old. So we're in this world ourselves. And we said to our kids, you're going to go to junior college if you're going to go to college and you're going to stay at home and we're going to help and all that. And you're going to work and you're not going to buy a new car. And, we kind of had our own game plan here. But I'd like for you to talk a little bit about the premise of your book. And do you think that college is a waste of time and money for most graduates today? You kind of referred to it a little bit earlier, but what's your premise of the book?
Well, think of it this way. College is of absolutely no value to 85% of our nation's workforce. 85%.
85%, you're saying.
In fact, out of 100 students who graduate who attend college, 50 of them are going to drop out. That's just a statistical fact. 50 of them will drop out. Of the 50 who do remain, 35 of them are going to end up in jobs they would have gotten straight out of high school. These are just facts. You can't deny them, they're there. What we have been led to believe by high school guidance counselors and so forth is that college is the panacea for all things. that you cannot get the American dream without a college degree. That might have been true 30 years ago on back, but nowadays it is not. Matter of fact, think of it this way. Think of 50 trade school programs, Deb, like plumbing, welding, banking, and banking is a trade school. All kinds of trade schools. Think of 50 trade school programs. Out of the 50 that you're thinking of, how many of them provide a real job skill? 100%.
Right. And huge demand that never goes away.
But think of it this way. Think of 50 college majors. How many of the 50 college majors will provide a student real job skills upon graduation?
Right.
Parents don't see this anymore. They just think they have been so, I don't know, indoctrinated with the ideology that college is the way to go, that they've missed what's happening right now. Because I'm telling you, all the great opportunities are outside of college. There are so many wonderful programs, and this is why I created this book to be basically a virtual encyclopedia of career training opportunities that are offered outside the college arena. So I get into entrepreneuring, trade schools, cyber boot camps, apprenticeships. Do you realize there are over 26,000 apprenticeship programs out there, both blue and white collar?
Absolutely.
They are fascinating. And the neat thing about apprenticeship programs is that you're getting in-school teachings, you're going out into the workforce, and while you're doing both, you're getting paid.
Right.
There are apprenticeships that are just paying like $30 an hour.
Yeah.
So
well, my son, my 18-year-old, he's very interested in being a fireman. So we got him involved in an Explorer program. So while he's in high school, right, he gets a chance to see if this is something he would like to do and get his feet wet. And, he may not need a college degree now because he may be able to apply now and get his EMT and all that stuff. But it's a different route. And I think what your point is with the book is there's many routes that we've kind of forsaken. And there's a lot of ways that we can get our kids educated and experience for life that will set them up in a very successful career.
Absolutely. I even go into a chapter on sales. Think of this. Here's this young man. He doesn't graduate from high school, okay? But he buys at wholesale a bundle of men's long johns, underwear. He takes them up with him to the Pacific Northwest and sells them to lumberjacks. He earns $1,500 off that sales. He takes that $1,500, goes off to Washington, D.C., borrows another $1,500 to buy an A&W root beer stand franchise. Then he buys another, and then another. Then after 20 years, he decides to buy a hotel. Well, then he buys another, and then another. And the name of this salesman, this entrepreneur, who started off selling long johns, underwear, is John Marriott of the Marriott Hotels.
Oh my.
This is what life is all about. And we don't
That's
tell
the
our
American
kids
dream, right, Bruce? That's the American dream.
There it is. There it is. Also what I tell parents is you've got to have your son and daughter have a love for work, a command of the English language, and they can thrive anywhere. They have to have both of those. That's your job, mom and dad, to ensure literacy skills and to ensure that they have a love for work. And if you got that, they're going to take care of themselves. If they don't have that.
I have a couple of questions because I want to know, you sent your kids to college and you worked at the university.
I did.
So this is kind of for you.
But you know, I was specific.
Okay.
And by the way, our kids that graduated from college, they're doing very well. But they were also specific, like they went into dentistry. And I went into instructional science. I was actually allowed to take the instructional science program, which is a master's doctorate degree, as an undergraduate. I was able to write my own program because I saw in the future there were going to be a need. Instructional science is basically the science of training, of creating training manuals. And I loved to teach people how to learn new things. Okay. And so I knew this opportunity was out there. And so I qualified to go into that program as an undergraduate. But you know, again, that was 30, 40 years ago.
Right, but like you're
Nowadays, it's
saying,
just
specific.
It was specific. And even if you're specific, even if you get into, let's just say the computer sciences, Debbie.
Okay.
But now we've got young men and young women coming from India with H-1B visas that are taking the jobs that normally start around 60,000 and go up to 80,000 after a couple of years. They're starting at 40,000. And this is what the United States Chamber of Commerce is fighting for our government to allow more and more of these kids to come in, because then they can basically price out our kids who's gone the right route. So even if you do it correctly from college, you might be doing it incorrectly. This is why I have in the book for moms and dads to explore with their kids, which is called for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to borrow $100,000 to create a business, you have to have a business plan, no doubt. You have to have everything down to but yet kids go into college or into a trade school without a business plan of their own, an educational plan. Well, I have in my book of all the things that they need to research. Like your son, if he wants to be a fireman, he should join Firemen's Association. He should get going down to the fire station, and when the men are off and the women are off duty, basically, and talking with them and finding out what's the best route. All of these things, it's called an exploration. You just don't sit there on a whim and say, you know, I watched a movie about firefighters and I was impressed by them and I'm going to be a firefighter. You've got to go out there and do the research. Right. And when you do it, you're going to just find all these wonderful opportunities. Let me give you an example. In the last 4 months at my home, we've had a plumber here. He was from Yugoslavia. He's now making $170,000 and he barely understands the language because he learned how to become a plumber. We had a roofer come to our home. He was a high school dropout, and yet after 9 years, he owns a $2.4 million home. We had a kid that came in to fix our ice making machine in our refrigerator. He was the shyest kid on earth. I thought he was still in high school, had no social skills whatsoever. But after 14 months of working as
HVAC
ice making machines. He's now making $75,000. We had this cable guy also from Yugoslavia. He had 2 weeks of training and about 5 months of on-the-job skills training. He's making $85,000. There's this guy that was working at BMW. He started off washing cars, but because he worked so hard.
There's so many great stories,
He went up in one department to another department. Now he's making $90,000 as a service director. On and on and on it goes. And mom and dad, it's out there. You just need to explore.
I want to ask you one question here, though, Bruce, because I think there is a big renewal and a re-education for the trades. Mike Rowe, all these, there's a lot of people that are talking about it now. And I think that a lot of people are kind of coming back to reality on this because so many of the issues, like you said, somebody gets a political science degree, they come out, they're not employable, or a general communications degree, they're not employable. No one knows what to do. They end up serving somewhere, trying to find a job, and they end up probably maybe, working at as a receptionist somewhere, whatever. It gets so confusing. We've all seen this happen to, family members or friends. But it used to be that you had to have a college degree as a stepping stone. Like you couldn't get in the door for to even get your resume looked at. Is that no longer the case? I want to address that.
Not really, Deb. Matter of fact, corporate America is basically turning away from the college graduate. They're going for the community college graduate. In fact, here in Arizona, there's an alliance between Cisco, Intel, Apple, and Boeing, and they have given their programs to train in 10 community colleges here in the Valley, their programs to give the skills to these students who join their programs to within 2 years when they graduate, they're immediately hired. Right. So, and corporate America also seeing that these kids are coming out with they don't know how to read well or write well or even communicate well. They are so wrapped up in woke ideology that they're ready to fight anybody within their office. And it's causing great conflicts now.
You're talking about the woke ideology. this is another, and again, we want to make this very clear. If your daughter or son is going to school to be a doctor or an attorney, or like you said, someone in debt, I mean, you have to get an education specific to that. But if our kids are going there just because they don't know exactly what to do, or this is like a way for them to kind of figure out who they are, I'm not sure that you agree with that. But there's also this and we're leading them to a place that has such woke ideology and such
Oh,
indoctrination happening. A lot of parents are seeing their children coming back as someone they don't even recognize.
they
And that's
don't.
also something we should consider, correct?
They don't. Absolutely. Matter of fact, college gives our kids four things right now: a loss of faith, a loss of love for country, a mountain of debt, and no job skills to show for it. 80% of students right now who are conservative believe that they have to self-censor in a classroom because they're afraid that they're going to lose a grade or two.
That's true.
It's a place that basically is, well, I tell moms and dads, if you send your kids to college, you're basically financing socialist and communistic ideologies. This is what your money is going to, is to pay the effort to destroy this country. It's that bad. It's
And
that bad.
are the faith-based colleges and universities any better?
Not really. You got to be very, very careful. You've got to do your homework, because our kids went to faith-based universities and they lost their faith from the instructors that were there. So it's a mess. Just, I guess I'm saying to mom and dad, why go there? Why take the risk? What job skills are they going to have with social studies, history of art and architecture, romance literature? What's public relations? All of these, they're there and they seem nice, but then look what happens. Here's for example, the reason why I wrote this book. I was working for a law firm, a bankruptcy law firm.
Okay.
This young lady comes into the office and she was so happy, Deb. She was just bouncing off the walls because she was going to pay off her, or bankrupt on her $220,000 debt. But then when I spoke to her, we found out that $220,000 debt was completely a student loan. Well, she didn't know that you cannot bankrupt on a student loan ever, except in rare circumstances where, like, you lose all four limbs and you cannot work. They may forgive the debt. May. I say that because I read the article on it. So
Devastating.
Here she was, $220,000 in debt, and she began to weep. And the problem of it was, Deb, is that here she was trained to be a high school guidance counselor. She didn't even know, after all that training, that she couldn't bankrupt on a student loan as a high school guidance counselor. And what's even worse, we did the math. Starting at $42,000 a year,
I was going to say, what would her?
She couldn't afford the $2,700 monthly payment she had to make for her student loan. She had to go find a new career. Right. It's insane.
And
it's
this
insane
is happening
to have
a lot,
these kids pay these monies for no job skills, and for a hatred of country, and for loss of love for people. It's just a lot of hate. And more hate. And this is where all the hate is coming from, is from our universities. Yeah. And mom and dad, I'm telling you, you better do your homework before you send your kids to these places.
Right. What's the highest paid profession in the world? Did you say that was, did you allude to that with
sales? It's sales.
Think about that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I've got a dear friend that just went down to California to sell solar. His first year, he made $400,000. Wow. Never sold a thing in his life.
Didn't have to have a college degree to apply for that job either, right?
No, not at all. Not even. There are so many opportunities out there. Oh my goodness. For example, hold on here just a second. There just came out with no degree or experience required, what online IT certification program will have a student learn an in-demand job skill in less than 6 months, with over 400,000 US job openings and a $52,000 starting salary. These things are all over the place, Dad. Right. They're everywhere. what two-year trade school degree commands a median income of $135,000? Name the foundation that provides high school graduates a grant of $100,000 to skip college.
Wow.
This is what my book goes into. It's all
does.
about this. 100% Success Without College is the title, and you can find it at anythingbutcollege.com. Anythingbutcollege.com. But it is powerful.
You did a great job on this book, Bruce. I would like you to leave us with a couple of final points to the parents. I mean, you've made a great case on the concern for college. And we didn't even talk about, the sexual situations that are happening at schools, the drugs,
or the alcoholism.
There's a lot of problems. But again, like you
Tons.
said, if you're going to be an engineer, you got to figure out how you can handle this with your child and help them, in that journey of education. But most of the time, we don't need to be sending them off to school. We can help them with a trade. So what would you say to parents here, just in closing, regarding higher education, or just some specific tips? Like, how do they, evaluate that? And again, each child has got to be different, because each child has their strengths and weaknesses too.
They do. And matter of fact, I have a test in my book to basically test your child's strengths and weaknesses, to basically know whether or not they qualify not only to go to college or to a trade school, because a lot of kids are just not mature enough right now to handle these things. So
Right.
I'm saying, mom and dad, you better do your homework. This is my greatest advice I can give you. Do the homework. This is what the book is all about, is helping you do the homework. It guides you to the places where to go explore, and then how to find the best opportunities that are safe.
Yeah.
Meaning that they are going to be qualified, that you're not going to be robbed of your monies, or you're not going to be wasting your monies or your time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, and like I said earlier, you've got to ensure that your child has a command of the fundamental processes of both word and number, that they can read well, write well, speak well, and think well. They are not getting this in elementary and junior high and high school. They are not. They are getting killed with all this woke ideology. And it's simple, because teachers find it more profitable to them to basically relax and tell them about the LGBT community or this community or that community, because it's hard work to teach them how to read well, to read phonetically. Yeah. And so they give up and they just lay back and relax and they throw out this stuff. Yeah. And mom and dad, if you love your kids, you've got to ensure that they get a great education. Right. That is the foundation. And then with that foundation, it's their oyster, it's their world, it's everything that they want to become.
It's their future. My dad always said, I'm going to set you up to win, but you got to take it over the finish line. And I think as parents, that's what we need to do. We need to be thinking out of the box. We need to be, and this is why I always had our kids volunteer, go on missions trip, look at ways that they can job shadow. You really have to help them define and look and experience, because that's how they can either get an idea of what they like to be. Like you said, I just know so many folks have gone and gotten a degree in something they didn't even know if they were really interested in. And it ends up being just a mess. So I love the book, 100 Success Without College. You can get that at successwithoutcollege.org, right? Actually,
go to anythingbutcollege.com.
Oh,
anythingbutcollege.com. That's the best way to go.
All right. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with us. I mean, what an important topic for us as moms to be considering and investigating and really digging into this, because if you don't have kids, that are looking at college or a trade, everybody will be in the household. If you've got young ones trying to figure out what they want to be.
42% of our nation's college graduates are having to get some type of financial assistance from their parents. 42%. From living in home to getting money monthly. Right.
So we're in the process. So parents, you've got skin in the game too, bottom line.
Absolutely. This is what the book is all about, is to get your kids off of your payroll, mom and dad.
Get them to be independent.
Independent by the age of 22. Easily done.
Well, thank you for sharing all your experience with us, Bruce. God bless you and your family. And thank
Thank you,
you.
Deb.
We're excited to let our moms know about this book and just all the options that are out there. It's a big world out there.
You bet. I appreciate the time you've given me. You were great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Bruce. Great discussion. Great book. Please, moms, check into that if you have kids coming up and trying to figure out what to do with them with their education. Talking about topics, if you have a topic, a guest, or some feedback, would you please email me at podcast@momsforamerica.net. Again, that is podcast@momsforamerica.net. I would love to hear from you, and really any topics or subjects that you would like on the podcast here. Also, stop by our website. I wanted to send with that as well, momsforamerica.us. Check out all our programs, resources, events, all kinds of stuff on our website. Sign up for our newsletter there. You can do all that when you're there. And also, I always kind of try to mention this on every podcast, and that's our signature program, which is called the Cottage Meetings. You can find all about that on our website as well. But these 12 lessons will inspire and educate you about America's amazing heritage, so you can share the principles of liberty in your home, with your kids, and in your community. This program, along with many of our other programs on our website, and there are many, will help you impact your family in a very, very powerful way. We say this: from parental rights to public policy, from the kitchen table to Congress, we are here to help you in your journey through motherhood. So please stop by momsforamerica.us. Moms, we say this every week. We believe that liberty begins at home, and that you mamas, you are truly the heartbeat of America. That's why this movement is so powerful, because of the mamas. Again, like, share, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Thanks for joining by. Make sure you join us next week. And hey, let's keep changing our world one home at a time. Have a great day, mamas.